Hey everyone, Jake here. Welcome back to Show Your Work. Today I want to talk about percentages. I want to break down what they mean mathematically, and I want to show you some tips and tricks on how to solve them a little faster. And we'll put those tricks to use solving these 8 problems over here that at first glance might not be all that obvious on how we do it. So let's get started. First, to show you how we break down our method that we're going to use and to see how some of the tricks work, I want to take a look at these 3 problems that I hope are pretty easy for percentages for us. So first off, just 100% of anything, well, that's just that thing itself. So 100% of 42 is just 42. So what's 10% of 42? Well, if you remember, the trick for 10% is we just move that decimal place over 1 to the left. So 42 becomes 4.2. And then what about 1% of 42? Well, we just have to move that decimal over 1 more place again. And that becomes 0.42. So look at that last statement. 1% of 42 just meant we took that thing and moved the decimal over 2 places. So that's our first clue as to what percent means. What does it mean to move something over 2 places? Well, when we move it over 1 place, we divide by 10. When we move it over 2 places, we divide by 100. And that's what percent means. And the clue is in the word itself. Per is a mathematical word that almost always means division. Think of miles per hour. That slash representing a ratio or division. And then cent, thinking like century or even cents. How many pennies, cents, does it take to make a dollar? It takes 100. So percent means divide by 100. Move the decimal place over 2 points. And then all we have left to do is we have these 2 numbers, x and y we could call them, and this word of. Of in math means multiplication. So x% of y just means x times y divided by 100. And this is our main formula we're going to refer back to. So how does this help us? First, straightforward and foremost, how do we find percentages? Oh, we multiply the 2 numbers together and divide by 100. So when does that help us? When the numbers are nice and small, like our first example here, 6% of 3, oh God, that sounds like some kind of weird decimal I don't know, but just multiply the numbers together. 6 times 3 is 18. And then just move that decimal over 2 places. And we get 0.18. Oh, and that made that really easy. Also pretty easy for any 2 numbers that you're comfortable multiplying together. So 12 times 12, 12% of 12 seems a little weird, but I can just multiply them together. 12 times 12 is 144. And then I just move that decimal over from the right 2 places, and our answer is 1.44. Pretty easy, right? All right, let me show you another trick that comes as a result of this. Since all we're doing is multiplying 2 numbers, x times y, and dividing by 100, we can do that in any order we want. Multiplication is commutative, which just means that x times y is the same as y times x. So that means for us, x% of y is the same as y% of x. So this is when that could be useful. Just looking at 18% of 50, oh, that seems hard off the top of my head. I don't know what 18% is. That's a weird number. But if I just change that around to 50% of 18, oh, all of a sudden that gets much easier. 50% is just half. Half of 18 is 9. Let's try that one again. 40% of 25. Not entirely sure. It's not exactly obvious. I don't want to multiply 40 times 25 necessarily. But instead, I can think of this as 25% of 40. So I know 25%, well, that's just a quarter. A quarter of 40 is 10. See, they're getting easier. So some other tricks we can use with this is remembering what that divide by 100 means. It just means 2 moves of the decimal over to the left. And just like we can move around when we do X and Y, which one we want to put first, we can do these 2 moves of the decimal anytime we want. That might make it a little bit easier. So for example, on this 20, well, I could move that decimal over right away before I multiply it. Now I just do 65 times 2, which is a little bit easier than 65 times 20. I can do that one fairly quickly. That's 130. And then I moved the decimal over once already. I only have to move it over once again. So we put it right here, or just erase the 0. And that's 13 is our answer. This can also be useful when we have some large number here to deal with. So if I want 27% of a million, well, I just got to take off 2 of those zeros. That's the equivalent of moving the decimal over here. Now I'm just doing 27 times 10,000, and I just have to add these zeros to 27. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you go. 27% of a million is 270,000. Now sometimes we might want to move those decimals separately. This works really well for something like 30% of 70, which again is a little hard for me to think of in my head until I just move each of these decimals once there, once there. Now all I have to calculate is 3 times 7. And I know that. That's 21. Similarly with this, 60% of 200. I can move the decimals however I want as long as I only make 2 moves. So maybe let's move that one there and this one here. And now I'm just looking at 6 times 20. Which is also the same as 2 times 60, 120. And there you go. I hope those tricks helps. Makes it a little easier next time you're trying to calculate a percentage. Thanks for sharing your time with me, and we'll see you next time. Hey, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. Just a quick reminder, if you're interested in getting tutoring for yourself, you can email me at mathteacherjake@gmail.com. You can also find me on Fiverr. I'll put the links in the description for the video below. And also, if you guys have any suggestions on what kind of topics you'd like me to cover, please leave it in the comments below, and I will get around to your topic as soon as I can. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.